everyone. My name is Ole Kagan, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator with LA County Library, and I welcome you to Work Ready Screening of Driven, followed by a Q&A. And now I'd like to tell you about the Work Ready program. Work Ready started in December of 2020 with the purpose of helping people get a job, improve their work situation, and plan a more sustainable career path. And we're helping you do that in two ways. One, we lend out laptops and Wi-Fi hotspots for 6-week loans out of 20, soon to be 27 library location, breaking down one barrier to applying for a job and getting online training. So if you don't have internet access or you don't have a computer to access the internet and you need, free internet, we've got that. We're going to give you that computer. We're going to lend you that hotspot. You can get that for 6 weeks. You can get that from 20 library locations. And the second way that Work Ready is helping is we're providing virtual events just like this one about all sorts of work-related topics, from the basics, resumes, cover letters, interviews, to deep dives into various careers. We've done nonprofits, the food industry, entrepreneurship, like we're doing today, and many other subjects that will help you succeed at work. And I'm going to show you in a little bit how to get to those past classes. We have over 50 past classes on our YouTube channel. So many of those basics that you're interested in, we've had, 2, 3, 4 programs on resumes. So if you don't know anything about resumes or you need a refresher on resumes, we've got you covered with that. And of course, Work Ready is made possible due to funds provided by the American Rescue Plan. Now I want to tell you about next week's program, because we have events coming up for you every week, Tuesdays at 11 o'clock. And next week's program is Work Ready, Succeeding at Entry-Level Jobs. I'm going to post a link to that in the chat. We're going to talk about how to get into entry-level jobs, how to be successful, and how to grow that entry-level job into a career. So I'm going to post that in the chat. Hi, Judith. I'm going to post that in the chat. And then if you're interested in other programs, the library has so much going on. We've got a lot of virtual programs for you. Just go to our website, lacountylibrary.org. On the top right-hand side, there's an events box. Just hover over that. You get virtual programming. You can see all of the virtual programs we have coming up. We have virtual programs for all ages. And now, before we start the program, I did promise that I was going to show you something that you might find interesting. That's not that easy to get to from our website, but it's something that might be the difference between a great business plan and a wonderful business plan. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to introduce Judith, who will get us into the screening for today. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to share my browser screen and show you this resource. So this is our website, lacountylibrary.org, the main page. So what I'm going to do is go to resources. Now, resources we have, there we go. We've got business resources, tools for job seekers, and our Work Ready page where we get all the Work Ready programs. But that's not where I want to go. I want to go to digital literacy and then databases. Databases is like the unsung hero of the library world, the secrets. We've got auto repair database, so you can get the full Chilton Library if you want to fix your car. We've got biographical databases, all of these topics. But what I want to do is go to business. And we're going to go to Gale eBooks because I want to show you a series of books on writing business plans. So once you click on Gale eBooks, you're going to put in your library card number. I'm going to put in mine. All right, and I'm going to sign in. Gale eBooks is like a huge online database of reference books. So we've got books about the arts, biography, business, and we've got examples of all of these, full text, everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type business plans. Nope, I don't need to save that. business plan, business plans handbook. That's what I'm interested in. It's a series of books on business plans for different kind of industries. It's a great place to start if you're interested. So what it does here is it breaks down by industry. So this is inside. So we got like by pipeline fracture testing service. If you want to start a pipeline fracture testing service, we've got a sample business plan here. I'm just going to say, if you see all of these different kind of companies. So if you search the kind of company that you are trying to start, there's 383 entries for business plan handbook. And there's this volume 38. So if I'm just going to show you really quickly what it looks like inside. So I'm clicking on pipeline fracture testing service. We're going to load that. That's in volume 34. So you can see there's 38 volumes. There's volumes all throughout. This one entry was written in 2015. I'm not sure how pipeline fracture testing services have changed since then. That's something to note that it wasn't written this year, last year. So here's an example of a business plan for a pipeline fracture testing service. And what you would do here is you would, if this was your industry, you might take some of the language here and use this as an example. Get an executive summary, mission statement, the product and services, startup budget, an example of what budget might look like, funding. So what a business, this is just a sample business plan for this specific industry. So I'm scrolling fast. I know sometimes scrolling fast is challenging for people to look at, but I just want you to see all of it. And so you can look for whatever your industry is and get a sample business plan. Or if you just need inspiration, there's all sorts of stuff. So you can just click on business plans handbook and it'll give you all of the different business plan options. And there's also some information about how to write business plans. And I wanted to show you this because this is not something that most people know about. We used to have these books physically, but now you can access them online and just get the full book. You got this. This is volume 34. And this one has all of these: dry cleaner, mobile petting, zoo business, web development business. Okay, now I think it's about time that we get started with today's program. And to do that, I would like to introduce Judith Norman. Judith is a creative storyteller, video producer, and advocate for ambitious women of color. She's the founder of StartHER TV, an upcoming subscription streaming service that is dedicated to producing and sharing original stories about entrepreneurial journeys of women of color and other streaming services and TV network that other streaming services and TV networks overlook. StartHER TV's mission is to amplify and celebrate Black and Brown women's creativity, resourcefulness, resilience, and humanity through stories that leave viewers feeling good about themselves and hopeful for their futures. And with that, I turn the stage over to Judith Norman.
Good morning, Oleg, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And Oleg, thank you for sharing that information about Gale eBooks, because one thing entrepreneurs do is write business plans over and over and over again. So that's definitely a great resource. I'm going to go check that out as well. So welcome to today's screening of Driven. It is a StartHER TV original series documenting a day in the life of 4 different women entrepreneurs and getting a little bit of information about the motivation behind their ambition. Today, we're going to see 2 episodes. One will be featuring Breann Cook. She is a fashionpreneur, and the other will be featuring Sunny Jones, a real estate agent in Los Angeles. So I'm not going to keep you long. We're going to get started. We'll start off with Breann Cook, and let me tell you a little bit about that one. Breann is driven by confidence. Breann Cook is the founder of the streetwear fashion brand Ambition is the New Pink. She credits her success to her education, industry experience, and her family. Now, Breann wants to pay it forward by sharing her knowledge in high schools across America. So this is Breann's story. Our second episode features Sunny Jones, and she is driven by mission. South Central Los Angeles is in the midst of a revitalization, Real estate agent Sunny Jones grew up in South Central during the tumultuous 1980s. Sunny is on a mission to ensure that her community gets their piece of South Central's new landscape via residential and commercial property ownership.
My name is Breann Cook, owner and founder of Ambition is the New Pink, streetwear and community platform for ambitious women making this happen. Today is a great day because my mom is in the city for a visit while taking care of some business of her own. I am excited to spend some time with her, but first I'm going to put her to work by having her take some content photos for me for social media. My mom has a meeting, so while she's going to handle her business, I'm going to head over to the wholesale market to see what is going on over there. We're here in the San Pedro Mart. The San Pedro Mart is basically where everyone comes and buys their fast fashion pieces, from department stores such as Nordstrom's, Bloomingdale's, to your e-boutiques. Everyone comes down here and purchases their fast fashion, and even some of these wholesalers even do drop shipping. I've been coming to this mart for years, probably since 2007. I used to have an online store. Well, before we had online, we actually used to do a lot of pop-up shops. I used to come and I would buy for the boutiques out of state, basically being a boutique buyer for their store. It was easier to have a buyer that was here local in Los Angeles, because another thing with these stores is it's constantly turning over. So you might see something today and it's out tomorrow. So when you're here in the city of LA and have that relationship that you built with the vendor, you basically have first dibs on everything, and your cost is lower compared to someone that is out of state. So for example, if you have a t-shirt that is $13, well, a lot of times the buyers out of state, they might actually be paying $16 plus shipping per piece on that item. So when you have someone that's here that's locally, you'll be able to get it at that cost of being here in the city. The difference between fast fashion and Ambition is the New Pink is, with fast fashion, literally anyone could come to any of these wholesale stores or wholesale marts and purchase items for their stores and their boutiques, which means it's mass produced and hundreds of thousands of people will be carrying what it is that you see. But also that's why you see, like, how come everybody is carrying the same thing? Whereas with Ambition is New Pink, every item from the t-shirts to the sneakers to our cut and sew pieces that we do occasionally, I have literally designed myself. It's my thought, my original thought that I have produced here, made in Los Angeles. We do work with some overseas vendors with some of our pieces, but literally everything is my creation that you will not see anywhere else, as we don't have wholesale.
My name is Sunny Jones. I've been selling real estate here in LA for 16 years. I love what I do, love the amazing, dope people that I get to work with and serve here in the community. And it's awesome to be a part of people following their dreams and becoming homeowners and making it happen in the city. Hey Stephanie, how are you? You look gorgeous. Good to see you. All right, let's have a seat and go ahead and grab a drink.
Okay, cool.
And then we'll talk about our next steps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, ladies. Welcome to Hot and Cool Cafe.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Good, thank you for asking.
Of course. Okay, so of course I gotta ask, what can I get for you today? Any coffee, tea, smoothies?
Are you feeling like coffee or tea?
I think latte today.
Sounds good.
All right. What kind of latte can I get for you today?
Can I get a hazelnut latte with coconut milk, please?
Okay, sure. No problem. Hot, you said, right?
Please.
All right, gotcha. And for you, love?
I'll take like a vanilla macchiato.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, here you are.
Thank you
Macchiato.
so much.
Of course, and hazelnut latte.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have a
Thank
good day.
you. I'm so excited to meet Miss Stephanie, a wonderful client of mine, and she's a first-time buyer.
Ooh, that's good.
Perfect. Now on to the business. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So just to catch us up, we just fell out of escrow. How are you feeling?
I'm sad about it, but
Yeah.
I feel like we made the right decision.
Yeah. There were just too many big ticket items that would put you at a disadvantage. So it's like on to the next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to stick to my budget.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. Yeah. We don't want to be house poor.
No.
Right?
No.
So, all right. So now we have to turn the page and start looking for something else.
Okay.
All right. So I saw one. You want to grab your phone? I'll text
Sure.
it to you. Let's see. It's super cute. And it seems to fit all the things that you're looking for. So let me just send this one to you.
Which is good because it's
Yeah.
always close, but no cigar.
Right, but I feel like there's more things coming on the market. Would you say?
Definitely.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
that's good. We need a little bit more inventory. That's been our issue, just not having enough inventory. And you have your rate locked in.
Amazing.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So we just have to find a new property.
Yeah.
So I just sent you one. Let me know what you think about that one.
Ooh, this looks cute.
It seems to hit on all the things that you need and what you're looking for. Something that's already updated, ready to move in, turnkey. It has new AC, new electrical. It says it has new roof. This seems like a good one for us to check out.
Oh, it's
It also-
super cute.
And it has a great backyard too. So let's check this
Enough
one out.
space? Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Yeah.
And that was Sunny Jones. And I turn it over to you, Oleg.
Thank you very much, Judith. This is my second time watching both of these episodes, and I'm equally excited after the second time. So thank you very much for allowing us to screen them here. And somebody had
You're
asked
very
in the
welcome.
chat if somebody wants to watch these episodes and the rest of the series, because there's 2 more episodes of Driven, right? If somebody
Yes.
wants to watch them in the future, how would they do that?
We're going to be releasing them exclusively on StartHER TV. Right now, we're doing the technical stuff behind the scenes. So what I'll do, Oleg, is once we have that prepared, I will let you know, and then you can let everyone who signed up know, and then they can go and watch it there.
Perfect. And do you have like some kind of newsletter or email on StartHER TV?
I do.
Yeah, so people can sign
I
up for that, and
do.
then
If
they'll
you
find
go
out
to-
directly.
Exactly. If they go to starthertv.com, there is a sign up where you can sign up for our StartHER weekly e-newsletter. And we will also be announcing the launch of it as well in that. So thank you, Oleg. I like that plug.
Sure, you got to do it. So let me go ahead and introduce our panelists, because you saw them on the screen, you saw them in the episodes, and now it's time to bring them up to the stage here. So first, I'm going to introduce Sunny Jones, LA native, positive, loyal, creative, hardworking. These are words and guiding principles Sunny Jones lives by. An active real estate professional has been servicing both residential and commercial clients in Greater Los Angeles for over 16 years, with a passion for educating the community on real estate. Sunny Jones is a graduate of Arizona State University with a degree in communications and media studies. She has 16 years of real estate experience in LA. She's a top producer, #3 in LA office in 2022, and backed by Compass #1 brokerage in the United States. Sunny's passion for community, business marketing, and interior design fits perfectly into her real estate pursuits, as she is able to tap into all of her gifts to best serve her clients and community. Sunny Jones currently works with a nonprofit, TEC Tech Lemart, Technology Entertainment Convergence, and is a member of the Beverly Hills Greater Los Angeles Board of Realtors. And I welcome to the screen Sunny Jones.
Hey
Welcome, Sunny.
guys, that was awesome. How are you?
Doing very well. And now I want to introduce our next panelists, our next panelist, and that is Breann Cook. Breann is the founder, creative director of Ambition is the New Pink, which you can access by going to www.ambitionisthenewpink.com, a streetwear brand and community platform for ambitious women of color. Having graduated from the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising FIDM with a degree in merchandising marketing and having worked for notable showrooms. Breann is well-versed culturally, creatively, and has a plethora of knowledge in the fashion industry, marketing, and business. And I bring to the screen Breann Cook. Breann, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Breann.
Hi.
Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate your time. And boy, I've got a lot of questions for you, but first let me go ahead and I want to ask Judith. The first question is she's kind of the progenitor of Driven and StartHER TV. So I want to ask you, Judith, it's Women's History Month, of course, so this is a focus and celebration of female entrepreneurs. It's very welcome and it makes sense to do it this month, but you've been doing StartHER TV for a while. And so I'm curious about your inspiration for StartHER TV, how it all began, how has it evolved, and led you to where you are now with Driven.
Yes, I have been doing this for some time. I'm a storyteller. I love telling stories. I appreciate the power of storytelling, which is, when we see people who look like us on the screen, we see possibilities. We see them overcoming, we see their challenges, we see their creativity, we see their humanity. We can see us. And that's very important. The representation is very important. So how I got started into this, well, I've always been a storyteller, but in terms of virtual storytelling, I have a background in producing web series and podcasts and e-courses for different brands in the crafts and hobby industry. And so whenever I would produce like classes or courses, people always wanted to know the story of the person behind the course, the instructor, the craft celebrity, as they would call them. And so once I noticed that, I said, okay, well, then that's what I'm going to focus on. Telling stories about these women who are building their own brands and creating a lifestyle that allows them the freedom to live as they choose. And so I started doing that. And I noticed that a lot of Black and Brown women kind of came to the forefront with interest in my storytelling. And so I decided to focus on sharing stories to empower them. And so that's what StartHER TV is all about. It's giving women of color entrepreneurs a platform to show off their creativity, their resilience, their resourcefulness, and again, their humanity through storytelling.
Thanks, Judith. And something that you said really, I think, resonates with all of the panelists. And part of that is that I know that it's not just, creating visual content. I mean, you also have a book, you have this website, you have a real platform. And I wanted to kind of circle back to the rest of the panel here and talk about creating your platform. So I know, Breann, that your brand is more than just clothes. And Sunny, I know you educate, besides selling real estate, you educate and are very active in the community. And so I wanted to ask you how you expand your initial thought into something that goes beyond just the kind of the narrow part of what you do. So Breann, if you would, let's start with this.
So how I go about that, or how I started crafting it, was I started with events. So the foundation of the brand has always been community and sisterhood. And in order, I seen a need for the market where we necessarily didn't have that amongst women of color, being able to have great curated events and experiences where women really could genuinely build together, network together, and just build relationships after. Because it's one thing to have the event and it's a good experiences and you have the partnerships and the activations and the whole 9 yards, but then where does it go after that? So the thing that I started crafting was, okay, coming up with the concept, how can I execute the concept from front to end, and how can it basically go after, which is where the newsletter came in after the play, basically recapping everything and always providing information, resources, tools, and stuff for people to build. What I noticed, what came of that was a lot of ladies ended up genuinely building relationships with each other and doing business with each other after the events. So then from there, once I crafted the audience and the community, I basically was like, okay, now I could spring it into the clothes and create that same product and that same merchandise that will speak to those same women.
And so you're seeing what's working and you're moving in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunny?
Hey guys, so I would say for me, it's just sort of a natural inclination as I go through, educating my clients and seeing what their needs are, understanding the home buying process or home selling process, investing in real estate. It's been just a natural, and being a part of my community. Growing up here, I am an LA native. And so I've been through some of the rough spots and see where our community needs to sort of grow. And so it's just really has been a natural, whether I'm at a community event or, serving in some capacity, it's just sort of has been a natural progression for me.
Thank you. And I'm curious about, there are people obviously who have done some of the things that you guys are doing before you. And so I'm curious about the power of mentorship and the role of mentorship and how has it played in your lives? Judith, if you would like to start.
Oh, it's very powerful. And you can have mentors that don't even know that they're your mentors. You can, but again, they're giving you a blueprint. And so it leads back into the whole representation. So seeing someone who's doing something that you aspire to do and it's just so powerful. And being able to connect with them, of course, obviously would be a wonderful thing. But I think you can have mentors who don't even know you exist. You can look at someone's path, their story, how they conduct themselves in business, and take away the good parts. And use it for your own path.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I would say that goes from a personal standpoint and a business standpoint. I definitely had certain people speak into my life as a young person when I was in the foster care system that really helped provide just a light and let me see that there's something else. And so I cannot stress how important mentorship in itself is. And actually through Tech Lamert, we provide mentorship to young folks like 18 to 28. That's sort of like, what am I going to do with myself age range. And so I really value mentorship, and it, like Judith just said, it comes in all forms. And sometimes it's not like a program. It's just sort of, someone seeing a need and speaking in life into that person. And it's just a natural relationship that's formed. But mentorship is invaluable.
Randy, you have something to add?
Yes, I agree with the ladies, what both of them just said. Mentorship is very, very important, and it's very valuable. And the thing also with mentorship, a lot of times is people, they try to just find mentors and stuff in what it is that they're interested in or the industry that they're currently in. And I am a big advocate too of they don't have to be in your industry or something that you're interested in, because you can learn from everybody. Us as all those humans, we don't know everything. And so the same thing as what Sunny said of having different people be able to just pour into you or share different knowledge and life skills and stuff with you. You can apply that to your current life or, the current project or current opportunity, that you're seeking out. So I'm big on mentorship as well, and receiving information, advice. I ask questions. That one thing I'm very vocal. I don't have a problem with asking questions if it's something that I don't know. Or even when people reach out to me, I'll quickly tell you, okay, if I know it, I'll get it to you. If I don't, I may know someone who knows, and I have no problem, reaching out to them to get the information that you need. So, it's just being vocal and not being scared, and being able to just speak up and advocate for yourself and hold conversation and space for yourself.
So I'm curious, and I don't want to put the panel on the spot here. So whoever is ready to jump in can jump in first. What's a piece of wisdom or advice that you've received that has driven you and that has been instrumental in, who you've become? Either from a mentor or just something that you've read somewhere that stays with you.
I think one thing that, like my first computer that I ever purchased myself, it was actually just my first piece of like real tech back in the day. And we could, how you can kind of name your computer. And I named my computer Never Stop Dreaming. And I think that's part of my life motto. I think that if you can dream it, you can do it. It sounds so corny, but I believe in all the cliche things. And if you do the work and you work hard, you can make it happen. So I would say sort of an overarching theme for my life is just never stop dreaming.
I think that should be on a t-shirt right there.
Yeah.
That's like everybody should get that t-shirt once they're
right.
when they're in high school, when they're like having a trouble in their lives. There you go.
Yeah,
there's your Never Stop Dreaming t-shirt.
I know for me, something that a friend of mine told me many years ago when, I was getting a lot of rejection for different projects or whatever, she says, you know what, that's just one person's opinion. So keep going and ask until you get to the right person. So I always hear her say that to me. It's just one person's opinion. So keep going no matter what. If you feel in your heart that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to face a lot of rejection. A lot of people won't get it. You just have to get that inner strength, pull that from that inner strength and keep going and not let rejection shut you down.
Go ahead, Breann.
Sorry.
No, go please.
I know for myself, I always remember, I guess it will probably be maybe about third, fourth grade. And my dad, he just always you strive for excellence, right? So he was always, we had a system, we had a whole contract, and I got paid for my grades. And so he used to be like, look, I'll give you $100 for A's. I'll give you $50 for B's. I'll give you $20 for C's, and you'll get nothing for anything below that. But you shouldn't even get C's because C's are average. He was like, as far as you, he was like, you, and the academic level that you can't perform at, for you, that's not my expectation of you. He was just like, you always should go above and beyond. And if you ever need help with something, we could get you the tutors and stuff that you need to help God, assist you with that. And so that always stuck with me because I never do just enough. Anything that I do is always above and beyond. Whether it's small scale, large scale, I'm always going to go above and beyond and go, that next step. What is expected of me. Just never strive for average. Always go above and beyond for excellence.
These are great. This is another t-shirt right there. There's a question that came into the chat that I really like, and I want to take it to the panel. How do you find out what you're really passionate about when you have a lot of interests?
You have to try it out and see what, if it sticks, if it's sticky, you know what I mean? I have a ton of interest. I think I said that in the video here. And for me, real estate kind of encompassed a lot of those things. But even still outside of that, I have other interests. But you have to just try And I think your heart will tell you at the end of the day if that's your thing or not, if you really get enjoyment out of it, if you'll do it when, you know, it's midnight and you should be sleeping. Would you still want to do that thing? If you didn't make a lot of money at that thing, would you still want to do that? As from a passion perspective, I think that's going to be a good indicator for you, for anyone.
I also think that just because you can do a lot of things doesn't mean that you should. And I think you should pay attention to the one thing that you're able to do, you know, with ease. And I also think, going back to what Sunny was saying, people speaking into your life, that people will notice that, you know, like I think you'll get, it's not like you should be looking for that outside validation, but there's something when you know it's your thing, other people are kind of going to notice it too. And so I think one thing, you know, because I know I have a lot of interest and I've tried a lot of things like, oh, like you were saying, oh, books, she's doing this. I had to say, you know what, I'm going to focus on my visual stories because that's where my time and my resources are going, other than spreading myself so thin to the point where really I'm not accomplishing anything. So I think it's just like the one thing and that it's so natural to you, and that people maybe have complimented it on you, you know, said, oh, you do that really, really well, and that you love it. And like Sunny said, you would do it for free. You would get up at 12 a.m. to do it. That's what you should focus on, instead of trying to spread yourself and trying to do a little this, a little that, a little this. Focus on one thing.
And it's also too what Sunny said of trying. You have to try, because here's the thing, some people are born, I'll say, with a natural sense of sometimes like things that they're passionate about or their drive, but you'll have your different interests. And so you have to explore those options, because I'm big on not living my life on a shoulda, woulda, coulda. So if it's something that I'm interested in, and I tell anyone this, if it's something that you're interested in, try your hand at it and see what comes of it. Because a lot of times too, when you're not necessarily born with the passion, once you're trying and you're moving forward in something, the passion develops because you're learning more in that hobby or in that skill. And you're like, oh, I didn't know this. It starts leading you down a road and a pathway. And then the passion starts to develop for certain things. So I'm big on, you know, just trying stuff that you are interested in. It's better to try it and be like, nah, I don't think this is for me. Or you'd be like, okay, I think I like this. Let me see what becomes of it.
I'm curious about that sort of thing, you're trying things out, finding a passion. I'm curious about the entrepreneurial mindset, because you know the three of you are entrepreneurs, obviously. You're business people. And I want to know, was that something that you had when you were growing up? Was that the kind of thought process that you had when you were growing up? Or is it something that developed and sort of morphed and evolved over time?
I
Sunny,
think for me, it was something that I might have been born with, and my circumstances that I was in, I sort of had to have this grit about myself in order to, you know, have some level of success, because it wasn't always immediately in the folks that was around me, like just kind of growing up. And so like I was selling plates, you know, as a kid. I was making tacos as a kid. And, you know, you see the kids with their lemonade stands, and, you know, some kids just kind of naturally have that in them. I do think it's something, parts of it, it's things that you can learn to help you. But there are parts that are just kind of naturally within you for the tough times as an entrepreneur, because it's not always easy and roses, and you know, you work for yourself, and there's no one, you don't have a clock to punch. It's just your success is depending on what you put into your business. And even sometimes putting your all into your business can still be challenging, and that's tough. And so it takes a really tough mindset to be able to work past that and keep going when it's like, you know, why did all of this and this didn't happen and things didn't pan out the way that you expect. So I think that the mindset of an entrepreneur is that you need to be focused and you need to, have some real grit, or we called it hustle, like about yourself, in order to have the staying power that you need.
So the drive and the resilience.
Yeah. Oh, driven. Yes. Yes.
Yes, and the same here. I did growing up a lot of bake sales. I remember pitching to my parents to get them to buy me an ice cream truck. So I was like, I could make, give me an ice cream truck. I could sell ice cream and stuff. And I didn't find out until probably in my young adult years. My mom was like, your dad was really looking for trucks for you. He was like, but we couldn't find who was going to drive the truck. He was like, because we both are at work, who's going to do this truck with her after she gets out of school? So I do feel for some people it is something that they are born with, the drive naturally. And the same thing too is what Sunny says is the sense of that drive too keeps you being persistent even during those hard times, because again, operating a business where operating a business or being self-employed, doing offering services or where it's product based, sometimes it's gonna be, tip of the up. And then sometimes you're like, dang, I just did all this work and nothing, like, dang, what nothing has come from it. And it's just being able to have that faith to continue to believe in yourself, to continue to move forward.
I was just listening to a podcast and they're like, it took 5 years for this podcast to blow up. The 5 years of
Exactly.
just going, and then
Yeah, we often see like the success, but not, all of the different levels it took to get there.
the overnight success that took 10 years.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I say that all the time as far as like with overnight success. 90% of overnight success stories aren't overnight. They have putting some kind of skin in the game. It's just that now, since it's blown up, now it's more eyes on it. But when you go and start looking back at the stories of those, founders, it wasn't an overnight success. You do have those certain people that it is, but majority of the time, 90% of the time, they have put in, some skin in the game to, finally break through.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask about challenges, but sometimes asking about challenges can be a downer. But what I really want to know is, has there been challenges or a challenge that you've experienced that looking back, you're glad that it happened?
Yeah. From since I was born, I've had challenges. It's a part of life, and there are lessons. And without those challenges, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I like me. I like who I am. I like that, I'm not weak. I'm extremely strong, and I'm a good person. I treat people well. And I think a lot of that has to do with some of the things that I didn't like the way people treated me. So I would never treat someone that way. So, it can be challenging dealing with difficult personalities or difficult folks. But there's lessons to be learned within that too, because, it can teach you how you may not want to be. And then even within business, I would say the challenge is it's literally a classroom. Like, I take those things and it makes me even more sharp for the next deal or the next business venture, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I know for myself, I start every morning with my morning prayer, and a part of it is let the lessons and challenges of yesterday and today prepare me for the opportunities of today and tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, it's never any losses, it's always a lesson. You always are going to grow and learn something from it that you go apply it in the future. And the seed that you plant today, you might not harvest it right then in that moment. You don't know when it's going to harvest, but to keep watering it, so when it's come, you're right there being able to benefit from it.
I know for me, when you're in the thick of it, it's awful. But then when you come through and you see that a lot of that was God's protection, you
Yep.
know, from a lot of things. And you're like, oh my goodness, thank goodness I didn't get whatever it was that I was wanting, you know, whatever that issue, that thing was. But I think it just strengthens you. Because when you come out on the other side and you look back and you're like, oh yeah, okay. Or when you see someone, it's not just for you either. When you meet someone who's going through something similar, you can kind of say, no, you know, don't stress. This is you're going to get through this. So it's sort of like those challenges are, or for you to help somebody else too. It's not just all about you.
Agree, 100%.
Yes.
So let's talk about Driven. I want to know about the process of shooting the show, and if obviously you couldn't, Judith, you couldn't use everything that you shot on those days. So I'm curious if there are things that didn't make it in the show that you wanted to share with the audience, Breann and Sunny, and actually Judith too. Were there
You mean
parts of the
the
day?
bloopers,
Say
the
again?
director's cut? No,
Oh
the
yeah, I mean,
director's cut.
like the subject's cut, the director's cut.
I would say we had to go with the
Uh,
flow. Like for on my day, you know, it was an actual day in the life. It was literally like what I would have been doing that day. So I met with a client who was purchasing, met with a lease client who was looking for a lease, but we kind of talked about it and decided that purchasing may be better for them. And we visited one of my favorite spots to go get groceries, which is in the marina. And my makeup guy canceled on me at the last minute. So I wasn't camera ready.
you
But
look
we
beautiful.
yes, we had to push through. And I thought, you know, it was pretty seamless. Like it was not really scripted per se, or overly scripted. We kind of had an outline of the day from Judith. But it was really a day in the life. So, you know, she just kind of captures that. So I think our biggest, we did have a one client that canceled because of COVID. The whole family got it. And so we just had to, you know, wing it. And, you know, that's what you do in real life. In especially like with this was a production and all of that. So she just had to kind of maneuver things and tell the story minus that piece.
Yeah, that's production. That's you know, the business of side of storytelling. When you're telling other people's story, you have to be flexible. You know, maybe you didn't get a location that you wanted, or the makeup artist doesn't show, or even you know, I don't know. I know when we were doing Breann's Fit they kicked us out.
Yes.
Kicked us out of there.
Yes. They
So you have to go with the
instantly
flow.
And
you have to go with the flow.
And you know, even also too, the same thing. We kind of basically did like a day by day, like what I do actually in that day. And certain things are just, you've been doing it for so long, you think nothing of it. But it was so funny how they were all such in awe, the production when we went down to the mart. And I was just like, it's been something that I have been doing for over a decade. So I'm just like, okay, this is where we're at. This is where, you know, the wholesalers come, you know, where buyers come, where they build their relationships with the wholesalers. And they were just like, what?
I know. I didn't know any of this stuff. I don't know anything about fashion. I'd never been in that area before. And we were just like, what is this? And Breann's just like, oh yeah, and then here we go there. Oh, and I do that, you know. And I'm like, whoa, we were like tourists.
Yes, you know, and it was so funny. They like, we thought it was the alley. And I'm like, no, it's not. There's a this is where the real business is, you know, as far as from that side. It's over here. It's not nowhere near. The alley is still considered even the retail side.
Yeah.
And one thing when we were planning the production, we really wanted it, we wanted to really show LA. We wanted to show these different locations. We wanted to show Leimert Park and also downtown. And I really enjoyed going to Breann's printer. That was great. And seeing that process was really amazing. And seeing Sunny show a house. I love it. And like I tell Sunny, she's like, oh, I'm just showing a house. I'm like, you don't understand. That's a big, big business. People love watching house shows and seeing house tours. She's just like, I'm just showing the house. I'm like, no, we got to show everything. Because when we watch, when I'm watching $1 Million Listing and all that, that's, the house is part of the cast. We want to see the house.
I know there's a lot of people who are interested in the details of a job, and so you can't really capture that. And I listen to podcasts about people's jobs, and so I was right there with you watching the house being shown and the printing and I was right there with you on that. And speaking of your jobs, if somebody wants to start in the same flow of your career, so real estate, starting it, as somebody posted in the Q&A earlier, starting your own, channel or media company, starting a fashion brand, what do you recommend that they start with? Books to read, things to do, knowledge to know.
I would say for real
think they should-
estate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
For real estate, you simply have to take the test. So there's schools online that you can take. You don't even have to physically go in. And to me, taking the test and passing it is the easy part. But you can just start there, start, online, take their courses, and pass your test. And that will at least give you an indication to see if you kind of like that portion of it. Because there's a lot of different portions with real estate. You're dealing with people and emotions, and some are fun and some are not. But just start with the actual educational materials and see if that's something that you want to do.
And I think if you want to get involved with media, it would be best to go get a production assistant job, get on set, learn the different roles. You can work on set, you can work in the office. It helps to kind of have a well-rounded education when you see the actual process. They have I'm sure they have backstage or whatever, different ways you can connect. And so just try to get on a set, even if it's a low budget. It doesn't matter. Just get the experience, get to know the people. And that's how you learn.
I would say, as far as if you're looking into getting to fashion is so broad and it has so many careers within it that a lot of people aren't necessarily fully on knowledge of. But as far as if you want to have, your own business or your own brand, I would just say it's basically like kind of two things. Whether you want to do buying, so you have a lot of stores or online shops, and whether what side do you want to focus on, the wholesale side or complete starting from scratch. With the wholesale side is basically you being a buyer and you learning about trends and how to forecast trends and basically curating looks for your shop, as well as doing the marketing aspect once you kind of hash all that out. As far as like developing full-on product line from scratch, it's literally learning cut and sew in the steps of cut and sew, where it comes to creating your design, whether you're designing it yourself, from having a fashion designer do your sketches. And then from there, finding someone to do patterns, a pattern maker, finding someone to do the cutting, which is cutting out the patterns, finding sewers, and then also to, your fabric choices. So it's just like, it's two different levels or two different ways you can kind of get started in developing a brand. But another good book, regardless of whatever end would be, This Is Not a T-Shirt by Bobby Hundreds. I recommend that book a lot to people. It's really good. It kind of talks about as far as building community, as well as crafting in that fashion space. And another good book will be Superfans by Pat Flynn. That's another really great book. It's talking about a podcaster who he basically created superfans within his community. And that one could apply to so many industries, not just fashion, just across the board, in all honesty.
I just wrote those down and I'll put those into the follow-up email.
And I'm going to also put, there's 2 Instagram profiles that I follow that I think would be very helpful for someone, trying to get into production. One is called Queens of Production. I'm going to put this into the chat. Queens of Production, and she, young lady, she focuses on women of color working in the industry, the entertainment industry, and she does a lot of meetups. They have a lot of really great Zoom conversations, and then she talks a lot about different productions that are coming up and opportunities. Then there's another person I follow. Her handle is Show Run Her, and she provides a lot of really excellent information about the filmmaking process, from a producer's point of view, different grants that are available for your projects. So let me put those. These are Instagram handles. I'm going to put them into the chat now.
And while we're doing that, next week our program is on entry-level jobs. And so I just want to almost like a mini plug, but also to throw it out to you guys. In order to get a sense of your field and your industry, what are some entry-level jobs that one can start with just to get a little taste? I know Judith had mentioned production assistant.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
say for real estate, being an assistant, and it can be from a retail or commercial level. But then you can kind of learn the ropes that way. And I would say that's entry level, depending on, what your boss allows your responsibilities to be. But I'm sure like as you build the relationship, they will give you more responsibilities. But I would say being an assistant would be a good place to start. We also there's people who just open the doors, they don't give any actual information. They are just sort of because you can't always be in 2 places at once. So they're kind of an extra set of hands for you.
And if you wanted to become an assistant, you just reach out to specific real estate offices.
Agents, yeah, to see what their needs are.
Breann?
And the same as far as with fashion, definitely being an assistant, whether it's with day-to-day, whether it's with social, marketing, it's just different aspects of it. But for sure, if you're in internships as well, a showroom assistant, if you want to learn as far as like visuals and styling, I would say visual merchandising. And that would be good to learn more so from the retail aspect, because you can also apply it after the fact for yourself or for a smaller brand that you're working for. So when you see visual merch jobs, most of the time they are if you see the styling on websites to the windows displays in the stores in the mall. Visual merchandising is very broad, but it helps you kind of learn that end of how to present the clothing, and how to put looks together. As far as with marketing, you could learn basically just be an assistant and learn how to do a full-on campaign rollout, or just how the day-to-day rollout in the sense of from your newsletters to your text message marketing, to your social media marketing, to your ads, and your data. Everything is so much data when it comes to that marketing in the back end of it. When it comes to fashion design or a brand owner that's a buyer, just being their right hand. If you could be their assistant and be their right hand, you could go with them to the showrooms and learn how and observe how they're buying and observe how they study trends. Same as with a designer that's doing cut and sew from scratch, you could go to the factories as they're meeting all the different hands to get these pieces made. From the production standpoint, being their assistant, because a lot of times the production, if they aren't doing it all themselves and they have people in those different roles, product development is a whole nother different department than the than the actual designer. So, going with them as they're sitting down and meeting with the technical designer, or as they're meeting with the pattern maker and doing the adjustments, or sitting with the fit model, and you're learning how how really fits go into a garment and seeing all the different stages. But definitely just be assisting for sure.
Did you have
And you
any
have to
to
be,
add?
I just have one thing to add. You do have to be proactive, when you're talking about entry level, you're gonna have to, be the one to reach out. So it's like, send your resume, send a note to a brand that you want to work with, and, see if they need help. Be open to doing an internship. Be open to doing maybe a one-time project for free one time. I don't say all the time, but maybe once. Maybe they have a little project and you say, I can give you a few hours for free so I can learn and I can make connections. But you have to really put yourself out there. You're going to have to, reach out. So don't think that people are going to come to you, or that you just reach out and also follow up. So don't think people are going to come to you, and don't think that just because you sent your resume out one time that, they're going to call you. You're going to have to follow up. Again, if this is something that you want, you're going to put your best efforts towards it.
And then another thing I like to add is sometimes too, you might not outright see different assistant positions, but you could take a position to get your foot in the door. And once you have your foot in the door, you could just be vocal about your interests. Like, like as far as with media, you might be the receptionist for a media company, but then be like, oh, well, I'm a writer. I like to write. You know what I mean? Where then people are like, oh, okay. So then when the opportunity comes up, they you pop up in mind for them. Or if you're working for a brand and you come in from doing shipping, and you shipping out the orders and stuff like that. But then you could tell them like, well, I'm interested in learning more of the production side, or I'm interested in learning more of the marketing side. So, it might not even just be the basic entry levels. It might be a whole nother position, but it's getting your foot in the door.
Right.
So I have one more question, but before I ask that question, I wanted to know if there was anything that any of you wanted to add that we haven't, questions I haven't asked, or, after seeing the episode or hearing each other talk, were there anything that you want to share with the audience about, the success or inspiration?
I think I would just like to say thank you to Judith for inviting me to be a part of her new venture, and I wish her much success, and hopefully the audience can learn and be inspired, because this is a woman going after her dreams, and she's doing it on her own, and that takes a lot of guts. And so I just want to take a moment and give her flowers.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. And they are received.
Yes.
Much needed today.
I think we're very lucky that we can have Judith here with us.
I think for me, thank you. I think if you want to take anything away from my story of developing StartHER TV, is just that don't give up, just don't give up. If you feel that what you are trying to do is your thing, just keep going. It's not going to be easy. Don't believe what you see on Instagram, where it's like, oh, I had an idea on Monday, and then all my friends were behind me on Tuesday, and then I had the product ready by Wednesday, and by Friday I had 6 figures. That does not happen. Someone put in, I think it's Winnie, she put in the chat, be strong, determined, persistently go after your dream. And that, as an entrepreneur, speaking from this entrepreneur, is every day, 24, that's all day. So yeah, that's what I would like to share. Don't give up, keep going.
Thank you. And so the final question I have, and I think one that's good to go out on, is what is your ultimate vision of success for your business?
Success for my business is my mission is being able to produce original stories that inspire women of color in particular, but women in general, to dream big and to go after what they want. And so, and I want people to see my content. We see a lot of shows featuring Black women in the media. And unfortunately, that representation is not always the best, and it's not always, it doesn't represent me. And when people come to StartHER TV and they watch their show and they watch our shows, I want them to go away feeling good about themselves. And I want them going away feeling hopeful and saying, you know, life is good. It could get better if I, when I do this. I don't want them, I'm not, we're not interested in promoting, toxic relationships or, trauma or narratives, negative narratives, about women of color. I want them to see us at our best. I want them to see the possibilities. I want them to see examples of courage, of resilience, of strength, and also humanity. I want them to see us as real people who care about others and who are active in our communities. And so my goal for StartHER TV is to be a vessel of positive representation of Black women. Now, on the business side, it's also to make some money, a lot of money.
I would say success for me just looks like creating as many Black homeowners as possible, homeowners in general. I don't know if you guys know that there's a racial wealth gap, and with African Americans, and just so I believe that we should be owning in the communities that we live in. People of color just haven't had the same opportunities. And so part of my success is seeing other people succeed in those areas through ownership from a commercial and residential standpoint. Because I mean, how many of us know people who have paid rent for the last 20 years, 30 years, and that could be money going towards their own properties and their own generational wealth. So for me, success looks like creating multiple owners of color.
And for me, success looks like, for one, the Ambition is New Pink brand standing on its own, not me having to be in the day-to-day operations, and basically me being able to teach and help others learn and grow and become into those positions, whether it is design, whether it is marketing, whether it is events, but as well being able to pass along what I do know to future generations to come, and how they could, have that high confidence, that strong belief in themselves to do whatever it is that they see that it is that they're interested in to, propel themselves forward as well.
Thank you very much. And before we conclude, where can people find you? If people want to follow your work, if people want to connect with you, how can they connect with you? Breann, do you want to start?
Yes, you can find me at ambitionisthenewpink.com. Same as the Instagram. The Instagram is the same as Ambition is the New Pink.
And for me, Agent Sunny Jones on all social handles, and that's my website as well, Agent Sunny Jones.
And I am StartHERTV.com. Instagram is at StartHER TV. I just added it to the chat. And Oleg, I want to just say thank you so much for always including StartHER TV in the Work Ready programming. And just thank you for being a support.
Sure, it's a real pleasure. I'm always inspired, and I think that for our audience, everybody has mentioned representation is very important, and it fills one's soul to hear you and to see the success of all of our panelists. So thank you very much for taking your valuable time to share with our audience. And, they'll be able to watch this on YouTube. And, hopefully folks out there found it useful, interesting, inspiring. And with that, I bid everybody a good afternoon, and
Bye.
we'll see you
Thanks,
next time.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Oleg. And thank you, audience members. We appreciate you.